It is time, my friend, for troubleshooting lab number 1. So here's the game plan. Here's how I have it envisioned for us to go through this. I'm going to present the topology, show you what it is, and also present the problem as far as what's not working on this network. And then here's the magic, secret sauce. What I'd love you to do at that point is pause. So pause the video, and then on the CBT Nuggets website, click on the virtual link for the lab, and then actually do the troubleshooting on your own to solve the problem that's being presented. So here's the bonus for this also is that once you resume the video, I've invited Jeff Kish, one of our trainers here at CBT Nuggets, a great guy, double CCIE, fantastic guy. I had him drop in logically, like parachuting in to this network that he's never worked on before, and I didn't give him insight as to what the problem was. And I said, Jeff, would you help me out? I'd like to have our students watch somebody walk through this and troubleshoot it and then talk their way as they're going through so they can get the experience of multiple instructors as they're going through troubleshooting. So again, the goal is number 1, do the troubleshooting on your own, and when you're done with it, then take a look by continuing the video, watch Jeff Kish walk through it. And if you like Jeff Kish, which most people do, you're going to love his other training that we have here at CBT Nuggets. So let's take a look at the topology, the problem, and then go right to the lab. And here is the problem. This PC right here, which is the client PC in Arizona at this IP address, it's trying to ping this Florida 1 PC at 10.16.20.101, this guy right here, and it's not working. So your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to identify why that's not working and correct the problem. Also, let me give you a quick preview or peek at the interface that you'll be working with as you use this hands-on lab here in the virtual labs. Let me go ahead and drag in this virtual lab. I've shrunken this down just a little bit so I can get it all on the screen here. So over here on the right, if we click on instructions, it has the problem, which is the client PC in Arizona can't ping the Florida 1 PC in Florida at that address. And if you click on resources, this is what takes you between DCNUG, which is our management computer, and the client PC in Arizona. So here's the client PC, there's DCNUG, and in DCNUG, I've got PuTTY open with tabs open up to all the networking devices, so you can take a look at anyone that you'd like, work with anyone that you'd like as you try to solve the problem of why the client PC in Arizona cannot ping the PC in Florida at 10.16.20.101. So it's at this time I would encourage you to pause this video, work on the lab yourself, and then when you're ready for a walkthrough by Jeff Kish, who's doing it live, never having seen it before, you can go ahead and click on play and enjoy that as well. So I'll see you at the very end of Jeff's presentation, and in the meanwhile, have fun in this troubleshooting lab.
Okay, Jeff Kish here, getting ready to do the lab that Keith has sent me. So Keith, let's see what you got in store for me here today. Looking at the diagram here, I gotta say, I want to do a little bit of exploration here. First of all, it looks like my PC, my client PC here in Arizona, is sitting in VLAN 10 at a site. And if I look over here on the right, I do see that we've got primarily 2 different VLANs. Looks like we actually have 4 at the site. VLAN 20 is highlighted. Either way, I'm in the 10.16.00 subnet, which, yeah, okay, that matches that. 10.16.0.10 is my IP address. And the lab says that the problem is I can't ping from here all the way down to either of these PCs here in Florida. Now, let me see here. So if a ping fails, what I know is that it just tells me I can't reach it in some fashion. But the reality is that network conversations or communications are bidirectional, and so if the process fails, if the packet fails going to Florida, then the ping will fail. But the other possibility is that packet might make it all the way to Florida, and then it's coming back, and it gets dropped at some point. And so in either case, all I know is that the ping has failed. And so what I need to do is probably start still from my PC. I'm just sort of thinking out loud here as I formulate my game plan. I want to see if the PC here can reach the default gateway. And then if it can reach the default gateway, just start to do this path. I'm kind of preparing myself for the fact that I might actually be able to get all the way to the PC. If I walk forward, it might be stepping back that I need to figure out. Either that or I'm overthinking it, and we'll figure it out as we go. So either way, let's go ahead and pull up our network here. Again, the first thing I want to see is whether I can ping my default gateway. because that will tell me a little bit more about what's going on. So pull up the PC here, and hopefully I can pull up my command prompt. Looks good. Okay, so I'm going to look for my default gateway. Let's make sure I even have one configured. I'll just do IP config. And it looks like 10.16.0.1 is my default gateway. At this point, I don't know if that's the right default gateway or not, but I'm going to assume it is for the time being. Let me see if I can ping that. 10.16.0.1. And, ooh, that's not looking good. Yeah, I'd say that that's not reachable at this point. So maybe that's my problem. Now the question is, what should my default gateway be, and does that match? So let me go ahead and flip back here to, let's see here, to the network. So I'm on my network switch. Let me flip over to the core. So I've got 2 core switches. And diagram, where's that diagram? There it is. So I've got 2 core switches here. And I probably have, let's see here, core 1 and core 2. And so that was it dot 10? I better double check. I think it was dot 10. Dot 1. I'm dot 10. Dot 1. All right, good. Good thing I checked. So dot 1 is either on core 1 or core 2, or we might be running a first hop redundancy protocol and it's virtualized. So let's try to figure that out. Given that I'm in VLAN 10, I should be able to look at VLAN 10's interface and figure out what's going on there. So we'll flip back to the core 1. Let's take a look at core 1 first. Show run interface VLAN 10. Keith Barker, what are you doing to me here? I can't run a show run on that interface. All right, let's get creative here. Show IP interface brief. Okay, good. VLAN 10, 10.16.0.1. Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted to see. Core 2, let's check this out. Show IP interface brief. 10.16.0.2. Okay, so if I do any kind of show standby, okay, so he's going to let me do that. It doesn't look like we have any first hop redundancy protocol going. So 10.16.0.1, this guy right here should be my default gateway on VLAN 10 interface, which is what I was hoping would be the case. So the fact that I still can't get to it is curious. Probably that means at this point that's a layer 2 issue. So let's just go ahead and troubleshoot that, and maybe there are multiple problems that we need to look at. So let me see here. Let's get a little, I can't do a show run, so I'm not sure the best way to figure out which IP or which port I'm attached to. So we'll probably want to run a quick check against the MAC address is my guess. So let's flip over here to the PC, and now we'll do an ipconfig/all. And this ipconfig/all tells me that my physical address ends in 778899. That is either pre-configured or that is an intensely lucky MAC address. I love it, 778899. Okay, so that'll be easy to remember. So let's flip back to our access switch and do a show MAC address table. Oops, show MAC address table. And we'll just enter actually here. So I see 445566. That's on VLAN 1. You know what's interesting about this? I don't see my MAC address, but I also don't see any entries from a VLAN 10 perspective. I would think that I'd see at least something on VLAN 10. So next check, let's do a show VLAN. Let's see if VLAN 10 exists, and it does. We just don't have any ports in it. So the problem is probably that my PC is in the wrong port or in the wrong VLAN. Now I just have to figure out which port it's attached to. And I'm afraid it might be in a shutdown state since I'm not... Oh, wait. I'm blind. Let me do that again. Show MAC address table. It's right there. I don't know why I didn't see it. 778899. And it was right there in front of me. So that's on port gig 0/0. In fact, all of them are hanging off of gig 0/0, so that's interesting. But let's see here. So we know that's in VLAN 1. Let's change that. Let's do a config. Whoops. There we go. Config T, and we'll do an interface gig 00. I'm guessing I can't do a show run on this interface. Thank you, Keith. But we're going to push forward without it. So we'll do a, let's see here, switch port access VLAN 10. And just for good measure, we'll do a switch port mode access since I can't see it. I want to be sure that we're good there. So now let's take a look at that show MAC address table. All right, so we're refreshing right now. We're probably waiting for spanning tree. And show spanning tree VLAN 10. Yes, we're still in a blocking state because we are, well, let me double check. We're running rapid spanning tree. I would think it would be up faster than that, but we might just be still going through the process. Yep, there we go. We're going through listening and learning. So this should take about 30 seconds in total as it goes through my listening and learning states. I probably, in hindsight, should have enabled spanning tree port fast because then I wouldn't have had to wait for this. Forwarding. Nice. So show MAC address table. Well, I still don't see it. All right, let's wait a second. Maybe it'll still show up. 445566. It might just not be talking. So switches don't learn MAC addresses unless they speak. So let's make them speak. Switch back over to the client PC, and we'll ping our default gateway again. 10.16.0.1. So now we're sending traffic. Let's see if we get a response. All right, still no response. That's fine. We're still making progress. Let's see if our MAC address shows up. Okay, it does. So 778899 is now on VLAN 10. So that's step 1. Step 2, let's see if VLAN 10 is extended properly between those switches. Because if I pull up the drawing here, it is entirely possible that these links here, I don't want to circle them, let's see here, like this link right here between access switch 1 and core 1, I need to make sure that VLAN 10 is enabled, because in order for VLAN 10, oh look, I matched the purple, that's awesome. In order for VLAN 10 to get to its default gateway, it would need to be enabled on that link. So that's on gig 0/1 according to the diagram. So let's pull that up and take a look. So just the fact that I don't see gig 0/1 in my MAC address table, and if I go one step further and go back to that show spanning tree command, I don't see gig. Okay, why am I so bad at remembering 0/1? I don't see 0/1. I know it's not gig 00, so there's something up with that. Let's go ahead and, you know what, I want to take a look at the core switch on its side. So if I take a look at the core switch, in fact, let me, you know what's funny about all this is I just realized on the diagram that it says 00 right here. So all that effort trying hunting down MAC addresses, and I could have just looked at the diagram. There's a lesson for you. Okay, so we're on core 1, and I minimized that for a reason. I covered up, oops, I covered up my interface ID, 1/0, that's what it said. Okay, 1/0, let's look at that. So 1/0 does show up and up, so that's actually good. But I'm guessing that we're not in the right VLAN. Again, I'm going to try this. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, I didn't think so. Whoops. Wrong thing. 1/0. Okay, so I did do it to the right one. All right, so I still can't look at it. Let's do a show interface trunk command and see. Okay, so it is in a trunking operation. And it looks like we're allowing all of the VLANs. I want to make sure from a spanning tree perspective on the core that it thinks that gig 1/0 is in a forwarding state, and it is, which is awesome. I'm guessing if I flip back to access 1 that we're not going to see that. So if I do a show interface trunk command, well, we got no trunks. So let's see here. We want to do a config t interface gig 0/1. Double check my drawing one more time just to make sure. Yep, 0/1. And we'll do a switch port mode trunk. And just in case, we're going to do a switch port trunk allowed command to make sure that all of the VLANs are enabled. So we'll just do 1 to 4094. All right, so let's do a show interface trunk. I bet we're in spanning tree. Let's check that out. Show spanning tree VLAN 10. Ooh, we don't even have spanning tree running. All right. So that's interesting. Let's look at the up-down state of that. So IP int brief. And gig 1, oh, look at that. It's administratively down. All right, probably should have checked that to start with. Config T, interface, gig, 0/1, no shut. Now let's check spanning tree. Show spanning tree, VLAN 10. All right, now given that this is a trunk, I don't want to go on there and configure port fast, so I'm just gonna have to wait the 30 seconds, unfortunately. Let's see here. Should be 15 seconds in the block or listening state. Since it's rapid, it's not listening, it's just in the blocking state. And then we should see, 15 seconds of learning. So when I wish I had the Jeopardy theme song on my phone, I could just bust it out, hit play. I'd hum it, but I don't think anybody needs to hear that. All right, forwarding. Nice. So let's do a show interface trunk. Make sure that, okay, good, we are up. I forced it to allow all the VLANs on the trunk. I don't know what that configuration looked like before I did that command, but at least we know now that everything is up from a VLAN 10 perspective. So let's switch back to Core 1 just real quick. I want to make sure that everything looks good here. Okay, yeah, because we're in the 40 state, that interface was already up. So let's switch over to client PC. And with any luck, we've got connectivity. So as best I can tell, there were two problems that we had to fix here. Let me see here. So problem number one is that the interface itself, right here, gig 0, 0 on the access switch 1, that needed to go into VLAN 10. That PC was in the wrong VLAN, it was in VLAN 1. And second of all, the trunk interface here, 0, 1, this was in a shutdown state. And it's possible that was the only problem. It's also possible that it wasn't in trunk. So I went ahead and put it into trunk before I realized it was shut down. If that was already in trunk mode, then that command didn't do a whole lot. But the fact that I went ahead and put that in, it maybe fixed the problem. And so doing the no shut was possibly a third thing. So either way, it looks like we can now ping our gateway. So let's see. That's not good enough because we need to be able to ping that Florida PC. So that'll be 10.16.20.101. All right, so ping 10.16.20.101. Want to make sure I got that right. 20.101 looks like it. Oh, look at that. We have connectivity. So that really was the only problem. We didn't need to worry about routing out on the internet. Well, I guess in this case, Metro Ethernet WAN circuit. So yeah, I think we're good. Good job, Keith. You really made me think on this one. There was a lot there, and I tell you what, being blinded and not being able to use that show run it was a challenge. But I tell you what, it did make me have to stop and think and use those other commands, which are really, really helpful. So thank you very much for the exercise, Keith, and I'll hand it back to you.
So I'm curious about how you did in your own troubleshooting of this lab, and I'm also very, very grateful for Jeff Kish for giving us his time and his insights on his troubleshooting of this problem. So if you had a lot of fun and a lot of good practice in this lab, hold on to your seats because in the very next lab, we're going to have another situation with a different problem. We'll have more opportunities to troubleshoot and another guest troubleshooter from our team here at CBT Nuggets. So I'll see you in that video in just a moment. Meanwhile, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.